British pub. As someone, again, like many lords, who started their careers in the industry as both a waiter and as a barman, we're committed to that. The budget is looking at not just the commitments we can make financially, but also at positive licensing reforms overall, including the first national licensing policy framework. But I'll come back specifically and right to the Noble Lord on the question of drink driving.
Fourth oral question, Baroness Berger.
I beg leave to ask the question standing in my name on the order paper.
We are aware of the case brought in the United States. No parent should have to go through what these parents have. Our deepest sympathies are with those affected. We have commenced powers through the Online Safety Act to require information from services about a child's online activity in the tragic event of their death. We have also established a data preservation process to ensure services preserve relevant data. We are committed to making those powers work effectively.
My Lords, I thank my noble friend, the Minister, for her reply. Ellen Room is one of a number of bereaved British parents that is suing TikTok. Ellen has been fighting for 4 years to get access to her son Jules' social media account after he died performing a TikTok challenge. Digital data that should be preserved as evidence in the critical early period following a child's death is not being requested and is routinely being deleted or lost. Justice must prevail. Will the government ensure that there is automatic digital data preservation for every one of these tragedies so they can be fully investigated?
The government is aware of calls to make the data preservation process faster. These are new powers, and we are actively monitoring the effectiveness of the current process, working closely with Ofcom to do this. We are carefully considering any means that could allow relevant data to be preserved in a timely manner to ensure investigations are well informed and families get the answers they need.
My Lords, the litigation alleges TikTok's algorithm deliberately promoted harmful content to children. And, my Lords, that's exactly what we originally thought the Online Safety Act was going to help protect our children with. But that appears to be wrong, my Lords. Will the government now, given its own statement of strategic priorities, insert a statutory definition of safety by design and require Ofcom specifically to address addictive algorithms and compulsive design features?
The Noble Lord will be aware of the statement that the Technology Secretary made last week, initiating a short consultation looking at further measures that could be taken, which respond to some of the questions that underlie his question about the nature of social media use and actions that could be taken in response to parental and other requests to deal with that. For example, looking at breaks to stop excessive use of doom scrolling or further enforcement of the law. And that consultation will take place swiftly before the summer.
My Lords, the noble lady, and I absolutely believe her, says that she personally and the government will do everything they can to address these issues. Is she aware that in the Crime and Policing Bill later on today we will be debating a group of amendments that would very simply close the gap and ensure that coroners and the police had access to the digital and social media data that they need, and would put an end to the unimaginable pain that families are going through waiting to find out how and why their children died?
Yes, we are aware of those calls and those particular measures that have been put forward. We are working closely with Ofcom and the Chief Coroner's Office to understand how these are working, and we are closely monitoring this and actively considering options to strengthen the process.
Would the noble lady, the Minister, please draw to the attention of her honourable friend, the Secretary of State, the following facts about TikTok. In June 2025, TikTok announced that it would expand its investment and presence in the UK, proudly declaring, I quote, "What underpins our continued growth is our deep commitment to safety. 2 months later in August, TikTok announced that it was going to fire almost all of its content moderation team in the United Kingdom. And one of those moderators said that as part of their daily job, they were told to scrutinize 1,200 videos every working day. Does that give us confidence that TikTok is a company that can be trusted?
All services operating in the United Kingdom must comply with the Online Safety Act. Ofcom is the regulator of online services, and when services fail to comply with the duties under the Act, Ofcom has enforcement powers to take action against them. We have made it very clear that Parliament has given those powers to Ofcom, and the Government is backing Ofcom to use the measures it has in its remit to scrutinise the operation of services operating in the UK, to provide the right environment for children and all users of social media here.
My Lords. As the mother of a tech-savvy 16-year-old, access to social media is a topic of discussion in our household and among her friends. They don't believe an outright ban will work. Parents who have suffered incredible loss have also voiced differing views on how we keep children safe online, which is why I believe a consultation is the best way to proceed. Can the Minister tell us on how the Government will make sure all views are considered in the consultation?
My honourable friend is right to highlight the fact that we all share the view that we want to get the objective of a safe online space, but one where children and others can benefit from the digital world and the digital economy. And navigating that and getting the right measures in place was the subject of some debate here in the House last week, and showed exactly how defining these parameters and defining the way in which we proceed is something that will take a short amount of time. And going to her question about how to make sure that to ensure that we hear the voice of all, that is exactly what we intend to do during the course of this consultation, particularly the voice of young people.
My Lords, bereaved parents in this case say they repeatedly warned platforms about dangerous content but were ignored until their children so tragically died. What assurance can the Minister give that victims' families are now being listened to directly by regulators rather than having to resort to the courts to be heard?
The noble Baroness makes the point about the effectiveness of the regime as it stands and the future development. So, as I mentioned before, we are looking very carefully at how the regime is working currently and the timeliness of the preservation of data and the communication of those steps. As she also knows, there are further measures that will come into force over the coming year or so, and Ofcom and others are putting forward the consultations and the measures that will take those further requirements forward for categorised services.
My Lords, the Government's being asked to introduce a legal compulsion which would force big tech companies to preserve the relevant data. Why don't we just do it?
We have put in place powers under both the Data Use and Access Act, which establishes the data preservation process that requires Ofcom, when notified by a coroner, to issue a data preservation notice to the specified online service companies. And since coming into force on the 30th of September, Ofcom has issued at least 12 data preservation notices. But as I mentioned before, we are looking very carefully at how this is working and the speed with which this is taking forward, and we are looking at what more needs to be done.
Further to the question by the noble Lord Russell, is the noble lady, the Minister, confident that TikTok can be trusted when looking at the interests of children and young persons? Yes or no, please?
We have set a regime. This House has passed the Online Safety Act. It is a regime that is supervised by Ofcom. We have given Ofcom the resources it needs to supervise against the Online Safety Act. We have made it clear that we back the use of those powers. And as we have seen recently, the government is prepared to make very clear that it stands behind Ofcom in taking action where that is seen to be fitting.
My Lord, the Noble Baroness, the Minister, will be aware that Australia has already instituted a ban. And I very much welcome the consultation that was announced last week. Will we be looking at their experience and trying to interpret the experience of other jurisdictions in carrying out the consultation?
My noble friend is right that there are other practices in other jurisdictions, and we should absolutely learn from their experience in all measures that are taken to protect children online, and how that is enacted and the effect on the space, the social media space, and the effect on children.
My Lords, that concludes oral questions.